Hey folks, so today our philosophical Wednesday, and I had a lot of topic to talk with you, and one of the topics, because I have this video already in Ukrainian, is the role of architects and what kind of architects we have and all of the things. But I decided to make it a bit more philosophical, to be honest. So I really believe that architects are more the philosophers because they have quite philosophical work. And what the hell actually the architects are doing? Let's talk about this. And do we have the architects in startup? And does any applications need an architect? So it's the good questions. And that's why I keen to talk with you not about the architect as a position, because maybe your organization simply don't have the architect at all, and just your CTO or maybe your CTO and founding engineer uh, act as architect, or maybe you haven't set up the technical foundry yet in your startup, and actually you don't have anybody who who take this role, and you uh, taking it yourself, even if you're not the technical person. And the opposite side, that maybe you have the board of the architects and the enterprise solution architects and the cloud architect and the data architect and whatever architect that we could imagine that fight with each other and spend the endless meeting fighting on the diagram. And what the architecture and architects are about. So it's the key question to answer that help us to understand what the hell they are doing and if they even useful and so on. So you need to understand that the architecture is the high level representation, concept, and mental model that allow us to take the business and technical decision uh, on our software system. Or any kind of product, right? So the architecture of product is not always the architecture of the software. And that's why we have the enterprise and solution guys. That solution guys, they not about the software, they more about the business processes and business domains, right? You could solve the problems differently. Maybe you don't need even to write the code. Maybe you need to change the processes. Maybe you need to buy the proper systems and integrate these systems that you buy. Bring the proper people with the right skills and build the system that are integration of the different products, different people, different processes all together. And it's usually the level of solution and enterprise architects, because enterprise and solution architects is not about the bloody Java and GBoss or something like that. It's more actually about the business domain, business processes, understanding of the business needs and how this business needs translated to the solutions that we need to implement actually. And the main challenge and the main work of the architect is the communication on a couple of things. So the first thing that they creating the architecture, and architecture is the mental models. It's a mental models that explain how actually system works, or how it should work and how it should solve our challenge. And another thing is just communicating this mental model to the team. And we know about the architecture elevator. So if you haven't read this amazing book, I really recommend you to read it, because this different level of architects, they interact with each other, but they work on the different levels of the organization, and they need to adopt this mental model of the system to completely different people and completely different languages. What I mean that on top you have the founders, you have the board, and you have the C-level people that speak French. In the middle, you have the managers that maybe speak German, and they wants to know how long it will take, what kind of people they need, and all these people and management and Gantt charts and all other madness things. And on the bottom, somehow you have these nerdy people in glasses that really love to talk about the technology and this machinery things, and they speak maybe your language, so you're not alien anymore. But you have in an organization completely different groups of people, and for sure you need to integrate the products to understand better the product and all that thing. And architect somehow is the communication and integration point that help all these people get together and create some moldable mental model that describe how all the things works. And that's why we have a lot of different architects, and the enterprise and solution architects, they could even doesn't know how to code, and they could even doesn't know how your favorite c#.net works, because they more on these mental models for the business. And somewhere lower to the machinery, we have the application architects that actually know how the machines work, how the non-functional requirements and all of the things came to the game. So maybe you have some specific architect that's specialized in a cloud solution, serverless, and all of the things, and then all this stuff that quite close to us, that we understand well, that we really love to work, came into the game. But the main purpose of the architect, it's not this laundry technology. The main work of the architect is creating the mental models, and even it's even more philosophical. It's not just creating the mental models, but it's about giving the names to the things. If you go to the Bible and study about the Adam, and the God give him a task to name every animal in a garden, and actually it's mean on this old mindset that if you want to name something, you need to understand deeply how it's work. And the work of the architects creating the mental models that are simplified, and it's easy to use and easy to understand by different people, but at the same time they create this mental model of the real world, so they understand how the business domain is work, they understand how the real world is work, and what is important, what is not important, and they creating the model, because model is not the reality, model is the simplified reality. So the work of the architect is just to take the real world problems and map them. Yeah, so simplifying them and map, and take the part that really matter for the software system or for the solution or whatever. So they really map the reality. They really take some physical domains and move them to the digital world. Or if you have devices, move move them to the bare metal. So, and it's a philosopher that try to understand the physical reality, physical domain, real processes, and then create the mental model, and then communicate this mental model to completely different groups of people with completely different expert knowledges, and make the integration of this mental model, and then allow other people that have more narrow knowledge to create their own mental models that more concrete, and in some level the solution and enterprise architects with these high level models meet the application architects, the technical leads, the principal developers, and all other people who contribute to the architecture that actually will do something that will work according to this model. And maybe you have in your organization architects already, maybe you don't, or maybe you have these senior plus developers like staff, senior staff, and principal engineers that took this role to them. But we will talk about them maybe the next time. On the next philosophical Wednesday, we could just understand better what the hell is principal is doing in an organization, but it's quite close to what the hell is the architects doing in an organization, to be honest. So, in short, so the architect is the philosopher that take the real world and map it to the mental model, and then communicate this mental model to the different levels in an organization, from the C level to the engineers, uh, work together with the products and business experts and all other things that enrich this mental model and create the solution and the product. And yeah, for sure, you could have super senior architect that maybe not able to code. Yes, they maybe not able to code or write the things or know the latest details about the suspense in React or something like that. And it doesn't mean that these people are bad in their job. They just doing something different. They doing completely different type of work. And yeah, so the complexity of modern technical domain grows so heavily that we have the architects that specialized on some narrow domains. Some of them specialized on some narrow technical domains, some of them specialized on some narrow business domains. And they all have the value. They all work together to create something great. And that's why the architects actually, as I said, they do three simple things. They map the reality to the mental model. They communicate the mental model to the different group, aggregate this feedback, and communicate it back to the people who will communicate it to the other people who will create all the good things that we use. So it's the simple answer of what the hell architects is doing. Do we need them? I'm pretty much sure that we are. And if you don't have one, it doesn't mean that you don't have architecture. You probably have the architecture, but maybe it's a chaos driven, chat GPT driven technical solutions that maybe it's enough, but in some point it will prevent you from scale. If you build in something super small, if you build in, I don't know, the house for dog at your yard, maybe you don't need the blueprints. But if you build in the building in a couple of floors, and maybe you really need to think about your plan much better, and maybe you need the architect. So then it's quite simple. It's really depends from what you're building. But if you're building something relatively complex, even middle-sized application in your organization, sooner or later you will need the people with quite a philosophical background that try to find the names for the things that we see around and put them to the to the buttons. That was all that I was keen to share with you. See you next time.